Welcome to the HD Radio Show with Bryan Hyde.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome to the HD Radio Show. This hour we are going to be shifting gears and I'm going to be sharing with you some information about some truly great people in our midst. And I think we need this reminder from time to time because, look, the election year circus is in full swing, and that means a lot of times we're kind of trained by everything that's being reported in the news to focus on our differences. Focus on the differences. I mean, I'm sorry, but the last couple hours of the show, we were focusing on our differences. Okay, I'll take ownership for that one. I want you to know that there is a group that is very, very dedicated to reaching out to people in need. They are called Southwest Recovery Mission Ministries. And I first became acquainted with them, I guess it was probably a little over a year ago. And at the time, I invited Alan, who is one of their top people, to come on the air with me and talk a little bit about it. And to give you an understanding of how much his heart was in the right place as far as, well, I don't know if I want to do that. He says, I don't want to be grandstanding. I don't want to be drawing attention to us when really what's important is the work that we're doing. And that's modesty. That's humility. But there have been a couple of really positive articles that have come out of late. We're going to tell you about some of the circumstances that made that happen. And I'm very happy to welcome Phil Jessup on the telephone with me. Phil, you've mentioned your acquaintance with Southwest Recovery Mission Ministries is long and a little bit complicated, but you are an essential part of their team. And I'm so glad to have you on HD Radio this afternoon. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Can you give us just a little bit of background for people who are hearing about Southwest Recovery Mission Ministries? In a nutshell, what is this organization and what are they hoping to do? What does their work accomplish?
What we do is take food and clothing donations and give them to people for free.
So you connect people in need with the things that they need.
Right.
Now, in particular, there's been a tremendous amount of need within the communities of Hilldale, Utah, and Colorado City, Arizona. Tell me about why some of these folks there are in very dire straits.
The people in Colorado City are suffering from many broken homes for religious reasons. The biggest portion of our recipients are single mothers with, on an average, 10 children. And it's really hard to take care of 10 children and work a job. So some of these ladies are in pretty dire straits. Their husbands, most of them, have been sent away by their religious leaders and told not to have any contact with their children. They're also told to give money to their bishop to care for their children and their wives, and that money's simply not reaching the families.
Okay, now, of course, those who were watching the headlines just recently remember that it wasn't so long ago that there was a very large law enforcement raid that took place regarding food stamp fraud, and that raid in and of itself has created some difficulties. Not that there weren't problems to be addressed, but people who were depending upon food stamps to feed their families now were kind of caught in between, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
So tell me about what Southwest Recovery Mission Ministries was able to do, because I know this is where you guys really kicked it into high gear. Tell me a little bit about the effort to address some of those needs to keep people fed.
We have been beating the bushes to find more sources of food. We've had many organizations like Cherished Families. We work with what's called the Safety Net, which is a group of organizations that are get together monthly and discuss what can be done to help these poverty-stricken people. We have an organization that donates computers to students who have no computers. There's a lot going on here, And yes, after that FBI raid in Colorado City, we had approximately a 50% increase in families coming to us for food. And so the need for food just really went through the roof. We're also working towards putting together some safe houses, places to send these children that have been discarded, and give them life skills so that they can move on in life and become members of society, productive members. They need mentorship, and they need safe places to live.
And these are all things that your organization, Southwest Recovery Mission Ministries, helps to connect them up with.
Right.
Okay. So you mentioned up to 50% more need for those for the food and presumably for the cash that helps to take care of and feed these people. Did the food donations and the cash donations rise, along with the need that was going up, or is that something that you guys are still working to catch up with?
They did. We've been really blessed with a lot of different organizations have stepped up. Some of them wish to remain anonymous. But, yes, we did have a sharp rise in food donations, which came right on time, too, because our food source in Vegas, where we get our food, which comes from U.S. Foods in Cisco, by way of Calvary Chapel, Meadow Mesa, those donations decreased. And so we were quite blessed to have different organizations step up, and we got donations from Walmart. We got donations from the Utah Food Bank. We got donations from Cherished Family. Jesus Feeds in Salt Lake sent some donations to us. Another organization in Salt Lake that wishes to remain anonymous. So, yes, we did get an increase in donations.
I'm glad to hear that. And Phil, I understand you actually lived in the polygamous community there for a good portion of your life, so you would know this better than probably most. Sometimes there are some tall walls between members of Hilldale and Colorado City and the rest of the world in general. In other words, I would think it might be difficult to find people willing to donate.
Yeah. We've had people tell us that we're not doing the right thing. We've had people, kind of turn their nose up at us, but that doesn't change the fact that there are hungry women and children.
No, exactly, and I think that is one of the greatest tests of real charity is the person who is making that donation, the person who is giving to the point that it hurts. When they are really doing it for the right reasons, they're not stopping and questioning, well, now, does the person I'm giving this to deserve this or not? They see the need, and regardless of whether they think the person deserves it, they address that need and do the best they can to provide aid and to provide, help where it's needed.
Yes.
Okay, we got to take a real quick commercial break. I have Phil Jessup on the line with me. He is with Southwest Recovery Mission Ministries. Look, they've been doing a lot of good for some time now, and for many of you, you're hearing about them for the very first time. They don't go around tooting their horn. And I've actually been kind of after Alan Curtis for a while. Let me toot your horn. Let me tell people about you. I hope this awareness translates into some of the people who say, hey, I want to help out. I want to get on board. We'll tell you how you can do that right after these messages.
Squandering his white male privilege.
Now, we had a chance to meet this young man, and boy, that's just a straight shooter with upper management written all over him.
To spend his afternoons answering phones. The HD Radio Show with Bryan Hyde.
Good afternoon and welcome to the HD Radio Show. On the telephone, I have Phil Jessup. Phil is with Southwest Recovery Mission Ministries. And for those who don't know, this is a very local to southern Utah and eastern Nevada, southeastern Nevada group that takes very seriously Christ's admonition of feed my sheep. And Phil, I think it's safe to say you guys have been doing this now for I think a little over 2 years. What, about 2.5 years?
Yeah, almost 3.
Almost 3 years. How has this ministry reached? How has it grown? I'm sure it started with a few families. How many families do you now serve?
We started with 27 individuals, and we're now serving over 90 families.
Wow. And talk to me a little bit about when you say serving them, this means helping them provide food, helping them have clothing. How often are you guys reaching out to them? Is this like a daily ministry? Is it a weekly ministry?
Typically, it's weekly. We run a truck to Vegas and back every Thursday, and on Thursday afternoon, we pass out food to whoever wants to come by the shop and get it. We also have some recipients that are working hours that don't work with that schedule, and so I own and operate a transmission shop here in Apple Valley where we do this ministry, and so I'm available to people that cannot come during that time, and sometimes it becomes a daily thing.
Well, I know for a fact that there are people who have caught the vision of what it means to serve those around them. And I have no doubt there are people within the sound of our voices right now who are hearing about this going, I didn't know this was there. How can I help? What kind of steps can they take? Where would you direct them if they either want to make cash donations, if they have food donations, or even just extra helping hands to pitch in?
Food donations can be dropped off here at the shop in Apple Valley at 2012 South Bubbling Well Lane. Cash donations can be done through a donate link on our website or our Facebook page at Southwest Recovery Mission Ministries. And if people want to just come by and volunteer, they're sure welcome to. We've had a lot of fun with this ministry. We've had people show up out of nowhere, and they just want to help. It's been a lot of fun.
And I guess we should probably clarify the communities that you serve. Let's help people understand. Just so, our broadcast reach is very, very large. So there may be people listening to us up in Fillmore going, "Hey, tell me more." What's the general geographic area that's served by Southwest Recovery Mission Ministries?
The general area that's served is Hilldale, Colorado City, Cane Beds, and a few families from Apple Valley.
Okay. And the need is very real. Now, again, I'm hesitant to use the word escape, but for some reason, when I hear people tell me, well, I grew up in Hilldale or I grew up in Colorado City, and they say I left that community, oftentimes I hear the word escape used, in conjunction with their leaving that community. Well, would that apply to your experience in getting out of there?
No, I was actually kicked out.
Okay. Well, I guess that might have made it a little bit easier, but still, there are families, as you mentioned, that are broken. There are families that are in need, and the need is there.
Yes.
Is it hard to get connected with the people who need that help? And I say that from the standpoint of because that's a pretty closed off community for the most part. Is it hard for people to reach out from there and say, I'm having trouble feeding my kids?
It is. We've like I said, we started kind of small, and as the word got out, more and more people started coming to us, and so it's been pretty much word of mouth. And a lot of it is low key. We try real hard to protect people's anonymity because of the religious standpoint. I'm considered an apostate from their church, and people who are still in are not allowed to associate or even communicate with apostates. So, in a religious sense, Gentile people are more openly received by the people that are still in the church than people like me that have left.
Does it make it difficult for those who are in need to be referred to you? It sounds like that could get a little bit tricky if someone is afraid of associating with an apostate.
It is tricky.
And I won't ask you to explain the process, but I guess what I'm asking you, you guys have worked out a way where those in need can be connected with this ministry and receive the help that they need.
Yes, we're outside of town where we're out from under the cameras and surveillance equipment that's in Colorado City. They can simply leave town and come out to the shop and get whatever we have to offer. But there are many families that still simply will not, and they're going to a food bank in Fredonia.
Uh-huh.
Last I heard, that food bank in Fredonia was feeding something like 300 FLDS families.
Now, do you work with that food bank, or is that a totally separate operation?
It's a separate operation, but we have shared donations with them.
So who again, I know you also want to preserve, there are donors who want to remain anonymous because they don't want to give their alms publicly, but it sounds like you have some connections with maybe some folks in Vegas. What's a typical week's donation of food look like? Can you give us an idea?
Probably 50 racks of bread. In the last month, we've had quite a few cases of limes, tomatoes, strawberries, mostly produce. Comes from Vegas, Calvary Chapel, Meadow Mesa, which is down on Cheyenne. And they have been our steadfast supporter. They've been with us since we began.
You could always use more donors, correct? You're not going to turn away any help?
No. We get new families every week come to us. So the need just increases, and we just give what we have and pray and thank God for what we get.
So at this time, what would you say is the greatest need of Southwest Recovery Mission Ministries? If we could make people aware of what they could do to help you, what would you want them to know that you could use?
Our biggest need right now is financial donations, money. We have kind of an interesting situation with the utilities department in Hilldale and Colorado City. The utilities are outrageous. We have one family, 7. The father is working, but they're still being charged something like $600 to $1,000 a month for water.
Wow.
And, when their water gets shut off, the ministry puts together what they can to help them get it turned back on for those children. We had one of my family members come to us. Someone came to us and told us about this family member of mine she's got 10 kids. She was sitting in a duplex in Hilldale, had no water, had no power, had no furniture, had no food. And so that puts quite a challenge out there to get utilities on and get a house furnished for them.
Okay, Phil, we're coming up on we're down to about our last minute here. For people who want to make a donation, I know that Southwest Recovery Mission Ministries is a verified nonprofit organization, so those who want to make those donations should be able to do so with confidence. What's the best way to do it? Go to the website, make a phone call. What do you recommend?
The website is easy. You can just use a debit card or a credit card and make a donation that way. Or you can contact Donna. through the website. Her phone number's listed up there, and she can provide tax credit documents or whatever's necessary for donors so that they can get their tax credits for their charitable donations.
Okay. Phil Jessup, thank you so much for being on HD Radio, and I wish you all the best. I expect we'll be talking again soon.
Thank you.